I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
The more you talk, the harder I want to hit you.
I'm happy because of being here today. Fuck you.
Come on, you want me to drive? No. You're supposed to be suicidal, remember? I'll
Anybody
drive.
a drive?
Let's get in the car.
Fucking shit. Fuck me in the fucking ass. Fuck you, you fucking stupid cunt.
Wow. Oh, was this a jaw drop? I am jaw dropped. How fucking great this film was. How fucking great this sequel was in general. Ah. Definitely a sequel that is even better than the first and improves on everything. Like, this is a sequel to a film that was an 8 out of 10. And they really stepped up their game with this movie. And it already leaves me already wanting a third one now. But hey everyone, it's Donji Corleone here, and I'm here with a brand new epic movie review. And this epic movie review is going to be for none other than last year's sequel, Niza 2. The sequel to Nija from 2019. And the first animated film to earn $2 billion worldwide. And no, not North America, because of other territories. These movies don't need North America for their profits. So, how was this film? No, not how was this film made. I'm saying the wrong part. What is the plot of this movie? So, after the catastrophe you saw at the end of the first one, the souls of Nija and Aobing are saved, but their bodies face ruin. To give them new life, Taizen Ren turns into a mystical seven-colored lotus on a daring bid to rebuild them and change their fate. Well, but he might have some other plans in mind, and I'm going to get to that later. But as for my reaction, well, you all know I did review Nija last week, and I thought it was good. Not 9 or 10 levels of good, but more 8 out of 10 levels of good. Now, though I now watched the sequel from last year, that, from what I heard, had stomped every modern Disney movies record and North America's animation records in the ground in general. And how was this movie? Fucking A. This was a fucking A. Yeah, this is a film that deserves all the acclaim. And it deserved all the buzz it got. It's a shame it didn't do too well in North America, but these films are more popular and they're where they're really from, China. So it's not a total flop. It's still got better success in the other areas, and it's the first, and besides, an animated film to make over $2 billion worldwide, that is impossible. That is something that has never happened before, but this film proved it. It surpassed Inside Out 2 at the worldwide box office with its record. And, of course, another thing, Zootopia 2 may have almost come close, but it couldn't even come anywhere close to this movie. This movie was funny, it was intense, it's heartbreaking, holy fuck, was there a lot of scenes I cried watching in this film, in the final act. And just even better overall. This is everything a sequel should be. Like, it's how a sequel that improves stuff about the first one should go. Improve your character development. Improve your action scenes. Improve your animation. It does all those things. Like, they clearly knew the character development needed more work So they stepped up their game with the 5 years this took with this sequel, and they fixed a lot of stuff. And you know something, this may be like 30 minutes longer than the first one. It didn't feel that long at all. You want to know something? Because China really well paces their films. They don't overfill or they don't try and make Avengers Endgame wannabes. They actually pace their films well. So they're 2 hours. So this movie actually felt like a breeze. It felt like a snap quick. Alright, so how was this film made? So before the release of Nijan back in 2019, director Yozi said that the production team intended to make a sequel if the film performed well at the box office. And guess what? It did. Made over $742 million worldwide. And 5 days after it was released, the team stated a sequel was already in development. And the sequel was going to be called Niza the Jimental Turns the Sea, or Niza 2 for English. And of course, the total cost of production reached about 600 million yuan, which broke the 200 million yuan record of Deep Sea in 2023 to become China's most expensive animated film. It was supported by Sichuan's province funds for major cultural products and have an annual budget of 300 million yuan. Niza and Niza 2 each took 5 years to produce, and more than 4,000 people across more than 38 animation companies participated in the creation of the film, more than double the 1,600 people in the first film. Producer Lin Wenzai said that the number of characters in this film was 3 times that of the previous film, which had more than 1,800 shots, while the sequel had more than 2,400 shots, and more than 1,900 special effects shots. Then, they would even have a documentary on February 10th, 2025 online that described the process of making Niza 2. Then, after the film was officially shot and completed, Niza 2 would first be released into theaters across China on January 29, 2025 to coincide with Chinese New Year. And like its predecessor, this film got even better positive reviews than the first one, achieved even greater commercial success with a gross of $2.2 billion worldwide and its production budget of US dollars 80 million. Niza 2 broke numerous box office records inside and outside China, becoming the highest grossing film in a single box office territory, the highest grossing animated film of all time, the first adult animated film in this position even too, because that's the thing, Niza 2 is a film that's really, this one, you could argue the first one would be kind of aimed for kids. This one is aimed more for a more adult crowd. Like, you know, this one feels like it's aimed much more for a more mature crowd, while still being aimed for kids at the same time. In a way. And it's the highest grossing non-English language film and the first animated film in history to cross the 2 billion worldwide mark. And it's the highest selling animated film based on ticket sales, and you know what's better? It overtook the shitty Lion King remake. Good. I'm glad this film curb stomped and overtook that piece of shit. Fucking deserved. Fuck the Lion King 2019. So I'm glad this film took its record for highest selling animated film based on ticket sales. And also became the highest grossing film in 2025 and the 5th highest grossing film of all time. So, a sequel is in development, and A24 would pick up North American rights and distribute an English dub of the movie and release it in August of 2025. And sadly though, as we all know, the English dub did not do well, but that did not stop this movie's success. And like, I'm glad a sequel's in development, because the way this movie ends, I wanted the third one, like, I really want a third one to happen quick. Though they've said it's going to take 4 or 5 years, which would make sense because they can't rush this one. So obviously we gotta wait 5 more years for the third one, but I'm ready for Niza 3, and I kind of regret not seeing the English dub in theaters, or not seeing the first film earlier. So when Niza 3 hits theaters, the English dub, I'll make sure to be there when they release the English dub for Niza 3 in theaters. I'll make sure to be there that time. This time. Because I'm already fucking hyped for this. Alright, so here are the epic good qualities of the story of Niza 2. So, what makes Niza 2 even better than the first film, and one of the best animated films we've gotten this decade, it's good to see it really exceeds expectations with viewers. It breaks the established imagination of the myth and legend of Niza, and creates a new core for the story in line. The first part is about breaking fate, the second part is about overturning the rules. Good and evil have nothing to do with race. Shingo Jabu has his own persistence and churchman, and immortals have selfishness. And the ever-evolving landscape of animated cinema emerges with a groundbreaking work that redefines the boundaries of visual narrative. You have a tour de force that orchestrates a perfect symphony of sensibility and crowd-pleasing entertainment. Like, this whole animated epic transcends conventional categorization, presents audience with immersive sensory experience, and it lingers long after the credits roll. The bold fusion of aesthetics and kinetic energy and establishing itself as this benchmark for animation. The film's combat sequences amount to nothing short of revelation of motion picture craftsmanship. Each frame of the movie really throbs with calculated violence and transcends action. Its like brutality elevates to high art. The animators demonstrate masterful command of temporal manipulation and judge as slow motion effects not just as gimmicks, but as punctuation marks. And the pauses in the chaos serve dual purposes. It allows viewers to appreciate the exquisite detail in muscle contraction and trajectory, amplify the visceral impact for dramatic tension and the world building it has. And the action accelerates to real-time velocity. The screen erupts in this whole display of effects and environmental destruction that, even can be seen as better than anything Michael Bay has really done in a lot of his stuff. And the technical wizardry on display really does well with the unique camera language and a precise grasp of action rhythm, and the work stands out among numerous other animations, and it creates a style of its own. Not only did it achieve upgrades in visual effects and character development, but it brought new shock and emotion to the viewers for the exploration of the plot theme and the unlimited potential of domestic animation, and it really still exceeds expectations by so much. It blows through dimensionality reduction. The chorus, the whole drop now, it still has some of the initial vulgar humor, but it doesn't over-ruin the film. Besides, most of the vulgar humor is only in like the first half. And the flaws don't overshadow the virtues, and just about everything in the whole film is perfect. And you want to know something, what this sequel kind of reminds me of? This sequel kind of feels like The Empire Strikes Back of the Ninja trilogy. This definitely feels like The Empire Strikes Back of this series because it's darker. It doesn't end on a happy ending. It ends on a sequel setup. It has a bit of a twist too. So I can see The Empire Strikes Back comparisons with this. Anyway, because this definitely felt a lot like that sequel in tone. All right, so how do we start off? So y'all remember at the end of the first film, when Ninja and Naobing got struck by Guy Lighting together, their bodies got destroyed. But to prevent their souls from dying, Taizarin exhausts the seven-colored sacred lotus to regenerate their physical bodies, but they're still fragile. So Bing's father, Bin's father, Aoguan, the Dragon King of the EC, believes his son is dead and orders Master Shen Gunban to attack Shenton Pass with the demons in prison under the palace and the three Dragon Kings of the Four Seas. Though Aobing defends Shenton Pass, but his new body disintegrates because of the effort that gets exerted, but then Aoguan makes this ceasefire deal. Aobing and Nija will share Nija's body for 7 days. They have to do 3 trials to become a Zion immortal, and when a potion that can restore the sacred lotus and create a new body for Aobing, which Aoguan's forces will retreat. So the trials are set by Immortal Wolian, the leader of the Chan sect, as crime is pretty much shown, and during the trials, can't really complete missions that are normally performed by the Sex Demon Hunters, while they're supervised by Wolian's disciples. And we see here, we actually do kind of see a nice little first act right there where pretty much when they're reconstructing bodies, Nija's not happy about still being the ugly child one and tries to come up with a few of them to the point where the body maker just quits at that point. And he still has he's still kind of funny. He still has his funny antics right here, like he did in the first film. It's a nice way to really start off our movie and really set up our whole adventure with Nija and Aobing. The visual effects here are really stunning. They're at times this movie doesn't even feel animated. This can feel like a live action movie too with the visual effects. The movements really feel smooth and natural, and every detail is handled so well. It really does feel like you're reading a real manga or in a real battlefield. The visuals are even more stunning. You have the magnificent underwater world, the Jade Void Palace, and the special effects are also really realistic too. That's why I said it does feel like you're also watching a live action film at times too. The scenes of thousands of troops fighting in the air really pushes the effects to the extreme, and atmosphere no less than that of Hollywood blockbusters as well. The water texture in the special effects is definitely very precise and complex. The shots of seawater are really beautiful and really huge. They're delicate and natural. You get close-up shots of water patterns and mist, and the effects of seawater washed in different materials and differences in the traces left behind, and they're presented very well. The character images in the film are really full, way more full than they were in the first film, and more three-dimensional compared to the first film. The first film definitely could tell was just really an animated film. This one feels like it's more than just an animated film. Each character has their own story, their own motivation, not just a simple binary opposition of good and evil. Each character has really good changes in personality and increases the radiance and power of humanity. The movie does continue really passionate, fantastical style of its predecessor in terms of the plot, and it innovates and reconstructs the basis of traditional mythology. And the worldview of the film is more complete. The boundaries with the humans, the boundaries with the demons, the boundaries with the monsters, the boundaries with the morals are really clearer. And there's contradiction and blends between all the other races in the film. The plot is a lot of echoes with the first part. It's not just a simple echo. It's a sublimation based on the first parts. There, and you remember how in the first, you remember how in the first one where the animation did look a little cheap and tacky. Not here. It still has the same animation of the first film, but here it looks way more realistic. Because you can definitely tell the bigger budget is in this film. The first one had a budget like $20 million US. This one is $80 million US, and it really shows they really put in the hard work with the 5 years they took to make this movie. Like compared to the first one where it's much more kiddie-like. Like the first one's the more kids film. This one is the more mature, older audience aimed one. Like the world outlook and the concepts conveyed in the film are more profound. The tone is a lot darker. The action is a little more tense. Like there's some times when some of the violence does get quite a bit extreme, quite a little cringy. Like there's this whole hard stop spell our two leads get put in that actually had me kind of cringing. You know, if they move around, their bodies get torn apart if they move around too much. And like there's these spiked needles they're impaled with. Like, fuck. Like the portrayal of the characters is very wonderful too. The development of the storyline is very reasonable and smooth. And so, pretty much so, in order to avoid hiding his demon nature with the trials, Nizo has to take these sleeping pills that allow Aobane to fully control his body temporarily. And Nizo and Aobane complete the first two trials. So, basically, like, when we do arrive there, now, I will mention this. When they do arrive at the palace, Nizo does mention he has to go to the bathroom, and That's probably one joke of the film I don't like. Yeah, there's this joke with this pig that farts in one of the villagers' face twice. I feel that joke wasn't needed. And the part where he goes to the bathroom in the jade plate area, and when the lady that's a square, he accidentally rips off a bit of her dress and shows he has to change and makes him go to the bathroom by himself. And then we have to see him take a piss, and I feel that stuff could be done without. So you still have some of the toilet humor in this film. That was a bit of a problem in the first one, but here it's not nearly as apparent here, and it's only really like the first act. The rest of the film's more mature. So Nizo and Aobane, their first trials, they have to defeat this village of marmot demons, and pretty much how it starts off is he sees them all. Nizo sees them all eating. He's like, "What? You're all eating? I came to challenge you." And he knocks one bowl out of one marmot's hands, and the marmot just like and just roars in his face, mad. And then there's this one leader and this one dim-witted moron one try to fight him. At first, the moron one does succeed, but then when Aobane takes control, he just beats the snot out of them and throws them through a rock. Their other one is this master that trains demons to prepare for the Zan trials respectively. And meanwhile, Aoguan tasks Shen Ganbao with guarding the Chetan Pass, and Ganbao is reunited with his younger brother named Shen Ziobao. And Ziobao is pretty much what we see This is like cat that could turn to a human. Pretty much, but then he witnesses Nija's second trial where the master Shenzhen Do, who was the Shen's family patriarch, is captured by Sek's forces, and he returns to Donggon Bao the Sek siege and plunged their family's village before eventually, though, he sadly ends up getting killed by his injuries that he gained from the disciple Diro. And pretty much that pretty much, though, makes his brother mad for a little bit. And for what we see, it seems like maybe he's going to go back on his promise and go back to his more bad self. But I'll explain more about that later, because that's going to come with a bit of a twist. Like, the film does masterfully balance this narrative with the unexpected twists and the resonant moments and the well-timed humor and beautiful paintings that are really inspired by all the traditional Chinese arts. Like, the sequel is much more cinematic, though, to be honest, in order to watch the sequel, you still need to watch Ninja 1 to deepen the understanding of the character development and mythological context to answer your viewing journey, or otherwise it's going to feel a little confusing. I mean, yeah, they mentioned what happened at the start of this movie, but it's still required to watch Ninja 1 first to understand the story more. You skip Ninja 1 and you jump into this, you wouldn't really tell what happened. You'd be a little confused as to how did these guys have to become immortal? So they explain it more they explain it kind of like in the beginning of the film, but either way, you still gotta watch the first one to know more who Ninja is. A film could be called a good film. It contains that it did a great job in. It's marvelous and it does everything perfectly well, which is definitely the case with Ninja 2. It not only told a good story, it told the story really well. And the story develops in a very reasonable way. And when it presents the surprising twist, it handles it beautifully well. Right there. It's a reminder of a previous scene that hints at the twist, and then there is a twist. It strikes a balance between humor and heartfelt moments. It's easy for anyone to connect with the story. And heck, something, I did mention the humor being a little juvenile in the first act, but the difference is, when the movie does the humor and it does the heartfelt moments at the same time, it perfectly balances them. That's something Disney is so hard at doing, apparently. Like, this whole film actually knows when to shut the humor up during the serious moments. They only add the humor when it needs to. The toilet humor doesn't overshadow all the action scenes, Because this film actually is willing to take itself seriously, not be a joke. Because apparently nowadays, Hollywood thinks we need to have a fucking joke to lighten up the fucking tension when there's about to be a dark moment happening a lot of times now with their revival franchises. No, we don't. There's times when we want to see some actually serious stuff be taken seriously. And this film does this way better. These movies actually don't overfill the humor and all those moments, and they actually take the serious moments seriously. Right there. Is that so hard for Hollywood to do? Apparently. And now I've already mentioned the stunning visual effects, but the pacing is really great. It's like not a single moment felt wasted, and something. That film's like 144 minutes long, but just a snap like this, it felt like it went by quicker. Every line of dialogue was meaningful, and this film didn't have any filler scenes at all. It's a film that really kept me engaged for the whole 2 hours it had, and this film felt like 80 minutes or 90 minutes, despite that fact that it is 2 hours. But I feel like some of the 2 hours comes from all the opening logos. The rest of the movie feels much shorter than it looks. It's actually really not that long. It actually kind of goes by like a breeze. As soon as you start, it's the sooner you're already halfway in. So I definitely really liked. So we then get to the third trial that Ninja's about to set off on. But he gets the news that Chetan Pass, his home, was destroyed. And Ninja is grief-stricken by this and enraged. And he's able to complete the third trial without Aobane's help. And he defeats the stone spirit, Shiji, becomes Zion and obtains a potion, and pretty much this stone spirit it's kind of referencing, Snow White, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? And the mirror is just bored, like, replying you, and just bored replying all her questions. And of course, but the stone spirit can see the mirror's lying, and it's pretty much like, just be more honest, I won't get mad. And the mirror decides to actually tell the truth, and then she gets all mad by this and is about to smash it. But then, of course, Ninja shows up and then pretty much defeats her, like, at that point. And he obtains a potion, and Tai restores Sacred Lotus with the potion, and regenerates Aobane's body. And Nizal then joins Wulian's forces to trap the dragons in Wulian's giant cauldron, and forge the dragons and demons to pills of immortality. The other three dragons then turn against Aoguan by collaborating with Wulian to escape the cauldron. And then during all this, Nija's parents arrive, and like before like Nija left for his trials, Lady Yin's mom was like, will you give her mother one last hug? And the whole village is just staring like, oh, and Ninja was like, no, I don't want to. But then his parents do arrive. They see him again, and they arrive at the cauldron unarmed with Aobang and Tai Yin, and they explain the truth. And this is where your shocking twist comes in the picture. For what we saw, it seemed like the dragons did order it. But when we find out the shocking truth, the very guy that was in charge of all of Nija's trials, the one that seems so grandfather-like and innocent the whole movie, the one you like, this guy can't be evil. This guy seems pretty innocent. It was fucking Wulian. Our real bad guy, the whole movie, was Wulian. Planned all of this. The whole time. And you know something, it's a twist villain that works. It's fresh. It's creative. It's not it doesn't feel shoehorned in at the last minute. That's something even a lot of modern Disney films have annoying habits of doing. They're twist villains. A lot of their twist villains at times feel shoehorned in these days. That's not the case with this film. Here, Wulian being the villain really works because at the same time, you get kind of some suspicious with him. And he does act a little bit rough and aggressive at times. He ordered the destruction of Shaitan Pass. And it turns out Shen deduced the Dragon King's betrayal and involvement in the massacre, and Chansek wanted to frame Aoguan for the attack to destroy the dragons and ensure the sect's domination. Nizal's parents escaped the destruction as Shen took a last stand to defend the city. So pretty much you see that quite a few villagers were even killed. So this movie does not, so even like the villagers aren't spared in this movie. Like, they made some like main characters in the first film, but here, you find out though, this is not just trying to be a kid's film. Some villagers actually were killed by the attack. And one of the standout features in Ninja 2 is the level of detail put in the 3D models. All the characters are not just animated. Even the characters themselves too feel real. Their expressions reflect their emotions and textures, make their outfits and accessories come to life. Designers really took care ensuring each character's appearance was not only appealing, but true to personality role in the story. With Ninja's rebellious, like, goofy attitude, where they call him wisdom of his mentors, and character designs really speak volumes without uttering a word. It's not just about how these characters look, it's about how they move. The fluidity, the natural rhythm of the characters. In many action-packed sequences, the fight choreography is executed. Each model transitions through intense movements in a way that do feel organic. It's a subtle way and purpose behind the punch, leap, and sword swing. The action sequences are really captivating. And even like the more emotional moments, I'm about to mention one really emotional moment that really got to me in the final act. Like it conveys their internal struggles and growth. And the prowess in Ninja 2 is commented by the heart of the film, the story itself. Like, Ninja 2 is a tale of self-discovery, empowerment, and the courage to challenge one's fate. Ninja Journey is a reflection of the universal struggle young people face as they navigate the complexities of identity and belonging. And narrative speaks directly to the challenges faced a lot by today's world. The pressure to conform to societal expectations, the fear of being misunderstood. Nija's refusal to let fate define wasn't a good message to anyone that felt trapped by their past. Ninja 2 does well in trying to make the viewer cry, or laugh, or feel mad, or get excited. The selfless love of family feels very warm and great. It does well in bringing waterworks to the viewer. Right there in the chorus, like right here, you know that the mischievous, unique little devil Ninja, he may look terrifying on the outside, but in the inside, his heart is full of justice. And then you also have Aobing, who's just more refined, more polite, more patient than Ninja, and well-mannered, kind, and gentle. And of course, like, speaking of that, I should also mention this. Ninja and Aobing's friendship scenes, they're still just as great as they were in the first film. You know, like, it's even better. They have even better chemistry with each other, and their chemistry is still great, as it always is in these movies. Like, they're some of the best friendship duos in animation, in animated cinema these days. So now we get on with the finale. So, our parties battle, but then Wu Lian casts Nija's group into the cauldron, and of course, pretty much right there, he freezes both Ninja and Aobing, gives them this heart-stopping paralyzed curse that puts pins and spikes all over their bodies. Ninja tries to move, but we get this cringy shot where they dig in his skin, and you can feel the pain. Even like you can see almost some of his skin rip from the needles. Like shit. And Wu Lian tells him that if he moves, his body will be ripped apart. And then he throws him in the cauldron. Then the heat of the cauldron rises. And the prisoners are transformed into pills of immortality. Like, pretty much, at first you do kind of get this slightly funny one where a few of them are trying to tasting each other, like tasting octopus's tentacles, and a shark offering its fin. And of course, a good crab is about to offer its pinchers, and then it turns to a pill of immortality, and then they all just start freaking out. And like long before this, when they were getting trapped in the cauldron, there was one of the dragon, that shark and dragon are battling each other. They bite each other's chills and they howl like dogs, but then the cauldron was to close, and they pretty much look at each other and they make a run for it. Like, those are some of the funniest parts of the film. It's I feel like the comedy bits in the later acts are funnier than the stuff in the first act. Of course, so then after that, Wu Lian then shows up in the cauldron with his avatar and pretty much offers Ninja a chance to spare his parents' fate if he takes this pill, but Lady Yin is disgusted by this act right there of him willing to kill Ninja just to spare them. So she kicks the pill away so Ninja won't die. And this scene is when this scene turns immediately to heartbreaking. God, this is a scene I cried fucking hard watching this bit. At this scene, she basically then gives Ninja one last hug, but Ninja's like, no, don't, the spikes will hurt you. Like, and earlier she was wounded in battle, and she was about to collapse. Like, she looked like she was about to die, and Ninja's like crying for her not to hug him, because he knows that the spikes will likely hurt her even more. And he's like crying that he just wanted to sacrifice himself to save his parents, and didn't want to die for nothing. And then Lady Yin then just gives him one last hug, doesn't care about the spikes, says, now I can't watch you grow up. But then to rub for her salt in the wound, you literally get flashbacks to when he's born, the scenes of the first movie, like when they're playing that game and they kicked her to the wall, and then scenes from this movie even, like, fuck. This film really does well in really making you cry with this whole scene. Like, this scene was very, very well done. And easily such an emotional bit. Like, I can see why this scene made so many viewers cry in the cinema. Because it's such a well-done moment. Right there. And it really makes you feel sorry for the characters. Right there. And it shows how Wu Lian is that evil. And so, Niza is grieving and absorbs the cauldron's fire and self-finds his new body and is reborn. by this point. So he pretty much resists the spikes more, and his body gets torn, but then his new body gets reborn. And so he pretty much frees Aobing of his curse with his new body, and the dragons and demons all then break the cauldron and force the heavenly armies to retreat. So then Aoguan leads the remaining dragons into hiding somewhere in the sea. Right there, pretty much like after the whole battle, like this whole final battle is fucking epic. Because this is like, it feels really manga-like. You have these armies facing each other in the sky, Ninja beating the shit out of Wu Lian, although he does manage to escape, and then the armies all retreat after a massive battle. And so pretty much after that, Aoguan leads the remaining dragons to hiding somewhere in the sea. Though, and first Aobing does come, like Aobing wants Ninja to come, but Ninja decides to stay and figure out who he is. Aobing at first goes home, but then he decides to stay behind and help Ninja expose Wu Lian's nature. And of course, then the last shot you get is them looking out into the horizon. But you get this credits text that says, bonus scene? Let's see. And there is a bonus scene, because there's a mid-credits scene where Wu Lian, Dilo, and Krana are his two guards. They go to this secret prison where they negotiate with the captain Shen Ba and Shen Zhendao, hoping to recruit them and stuff. And because of his beat-up face, he's able to be scanned into the place. And then he pretty much then tries to leave to visit two other people, but they're stuck in the prison because Wu Lian cursed the warden to sleep for 12 years. For mocking his injuries. And his registered injuries were healed. And so they're stuck there now, and they pretty much, because at this worst possible time, Jinza and Muza are summoned to meet with Wu Lian, but can't find them when they arrive, and so they're trapped there. So Diro and Krana try to get Wu Lian's injuries back, but every time they try, the scanner still fails. And so they have to keep beating him up all the time. But that's how Ninja 2 ends. Like, after like this intense emotional final act, you get this last bit of comedy in the mid-credits where the antagonist himself is sent the third film, but finds himself trapped there. Like, that's how Ninja 2 ends. And it ends on a really, really bittersweet note, despite the funny post-credit scene. Shinton Pass is destroyed. A lot of the villagers are dead. Ninja's mother is dead. Xenowan's scheme to convert the dragons and demons to immortality is permanently foiled. He and his followers can escape back to their domain to plot retribution. And Shengun Bao has been captured by his forces. And this already is an epic setup for the sequel. Right here. Like, this is a perfect setup for a third film, and I am really excited for Ninja 3. Can't wait to see the third film. Like, I can't wait to see Wu Lian get his comeuppance in the next film. Alright, so now do I have any bad qualities with Ninja 2? I would say for bad qualities, maybe the first act. Some of the toilet humor in the first act was a little cringeworthy. Like some of the piss jokes, vomit jokes, pig fart joke. I feel those scenes could be done without. They were not needed in the film. But I think that would be it. I think that'd be it for bad qualities. Because other than that, one nitpick I have. This movie was such a masterpiece sequel in every way. So yeah, Ninja 2, a beautiful movie, officially my favorite animated movie of the 2020s decade. This definitely deserved its $2 billion at the box office. And bring on Ninja 3 as soon as fucking possible. It's 5 years or not, I'm fucking ready for Ninja 3. Because when that English dub hits my area, I will make sure to arrive in the theaters for it when that time comes. I'm ready for Ninja 3. Already. So in the end, Ninja 3 is totally worth watching and buying if you love the first film and want to see an amazing animated film, and an example of an amazing sequel that's even better. Anyways, it's for my epic movie review of Ninja 3. We're gonna rank Ninja 3. Here's how I'm gonna rank this movie. So overall, if you like Ninja 1 and want to see an example of an even better sequel that really feels groundbreaking and really does deserve all its praise, I would so watch and buy Ninja 2 for your collection for sure, no doubt. And if we're gonna grade Ninja 2, I'm going to give Ninja 2 a full-blown fucking 10 out of fucking 10. Alright, there we go, guys. That wraps up my review for Ninja 2. Now I want in the comments down below, for those who have the privilege to watch Ninja 2, what did you all think of the movie? Did you like this movie more? Did you love this movie more as much as I did? Or was this film just still not for you? Either way. And until then, guys, that'll be it for this epic movie review. Thank you all for watching. If you like this and want to see more, don't forget to subscribe to Don G. Corleone.